my buddy.
More like it. That's more like it. Back in the building. Jason, what are you showing? I mean, Jason's ready to show so many records tonight. What do you got?
This, this band that they came from Germany, the German and Beatles, right? Kraftwerk.
Kraftwerk.
Das Model.
Das Autobahn.
With Wolfgang. Oh, man. So I'm holding up this 45 that I found at Breakaway Records. I believe this is the Dutch version of Das Model.
I love this no intro part of the.
Well, yeah. Listen, Jason just came in firing, so we're gonna get to the intro in a second. But when you got to let Picasso paint, I've learned this over the course of this illustrious live streaming career. But we got some folks in the building, so let's go ahead and get over with the formalities. Welcome back to Surface Noise, the show that talks about records and finding records and more records, and we talk about records. It's Concert Buddy back at the ones and twos. I've already messed up the intro because I was so intimidated by our special guest, and we'll get to him in a second. But also trying to figure out this Instagram nonsense. So the show, I know people have been asking, please put this show on Instagram because that's where I watch all my videos, and we are just not doing it. We are just not doing it. So stay tuned. We'll figure that out. But let's go around and introduce the panel and our special guest, and we'll get right into it. First up, one of my roommates, actually the only one on here who is a roommate in Austin, 2 years running. 2 years running. Jose Moreno Rahn. Jose, how are you, sir?
Good. Surviving the heat.
Yeah. What'd you say? Is 100 plus down there in Monterey?
Like 120, something like that.
Beaut.
Yeah.
Hope you got the ice machine going. You're gonna need it, my friend.
Yeah.
And then also I saw him over there. I saw 50% of the dais on the over the weekend. Jason Roxas went over to his house to listen to records. Hopefully we'll get into that. How are you, Jason?
Shout out to Concert Buddy for giving me this Olivia Rodrigo Noah Khan 45. Look at
Is that a coaster?
Oh man, it could be your coaster.
Hit that money. Hit that money.
I don't have one, so that'll be fine.
Get it. And then we'll go through. We'll get through the Austin contingency. We've got David Bianco, Safe and Sound Texas Audio Excursion in the Vinyl Throne. David, how are you?
Good. How are you? Good to see you.
Doing it better, David. I'd be good to see you too. Good to see you last week.
Yeah, sure.
And then usually, the man who is usually the most prompt panelist. Usually, and I say that because the crown was stolen. Jose was here a good 20 minutes early, 20 plus. So Arnaldo, you got some explaining to do. Arnaldo, the channel's Fidelios_frequency. How are you?
What's up, buddy and fellow buddies? Yeah, I don't know. I was like taking my time because I'm always the first one showing up and in the backstage, and I was like, okay, you're never supposed to be the first person at the party, right?
Allegedly. And then I want to welcome our guest for this presentation. And part of the reason, and we'll get into it's one of our show topics, is well, first of all, it's June. The channel is June's Music Corner. How are you this evening, sir?
Doing well.
Now he's been in the gallery before, so this is his primetime premiere. I want nothing but encouraging talk, and if anyone has any vitriol or negative things to say, put it on David Bianco's channel in the comments. David is ready to fight the good fight. So no, but June, if you're not subscribed to June, I'll drop a link here in a little bit. But you should, because my man talks a lot of stuff that not a lot of folks talk about the community, hip hop in particular. I love it when you talk hip hop on your channel. But he did a video, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, about digging into dollar crates. Is it still worth it? I was like, my man, speaking it, because these old bones, it's kind of like Jason digging for 45. It takes a special willpower and dedication, and I don't know, mine's waning, so we'll get into it. So I'm glad you made the video, and I'm glad you could join us tonight.
Appreciate it.
All right, now let's get into it. Let's say some hellos. We got some folks in the gallery. I see the illustrious John Bandy is here. Welcome, John. Good to see you. I know you're going to leave us for Steve Westman in an hour, so make sure you have fun here and facts in an hour. Okay, fun here, facts in an hour, because we'll see if we can have facts here because there won't be fun there. I'm just kidding, Steve. I'm just kidding, Steve Westman. Good stuff. And then JT, is this JT? Yeah. Oh, JT asks, anyone else watch the Colectco live auctions? It's funny you bring that up. It's the short answer is yes.
I'm still banned. They banned
Sport,
me.
man. It's sport.
You're still banned. He unbanned me. So so JT, we've been there before, and maybe we'll revisit that. I don't know. We'll see how we are. If you stick around, maybe we'll make another appearance. But and I have to give you a tried and true. We have to give you some hardware, JT, because I do know who you are. So let me give you the boom, 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 and now you're a part of La Familia. All right, let's get into the topics, fellas. What do you say?
Let's go.
All right. So let's talk about, well, quick one, since I kind of led off with it. Let's talk about Austin. Let's not do it too in depth because we want to get talking some other topics. But for our Austinites, I'll start with you, Jason, since you were hospitable and allowed me and Jose to come over. Hopefully we'll talk about that in a little bit. As the local, what was your read on the overall impression of the show this year?
It was more packed this year. There were a lot more people buying records, people there to flip records, a lot of competition, So everyone went for the LPs. I went for the 45s. So should I show just a few that I found real quick?
Yeah. Let's make it big, and then let's just do a couple quicks.
So we'll go for the easy one first. We'll do the Enya. $4
wow. With a picture cover. Okay.
Okay. And then we'll go for another easy one. We'll do the red promo, Janet Jackson. That's The Way Love Goes. $4. Right.
Wow,
now I'm gonna embarrass my credibility. We'll save the best for last. Train, Meet Virginia, with the B side. My favorite.
Drops of Jupiter. I mean, wow.
Tell me.
And now we're gonna. Do you have the drum roll? No?
Oh, hang on. Do I have the drum roll? Are you kidding me? Hold up.
The ultimate.
Boom.
Santana.
Yeah. This one. I was a little stiff in my vinyl pant when Jason showed this one to me. I didn't know they did that song "Smooth" with Rob Thomas on a 45. So high marks to Jason for really just digging well. He did awesome.
Right. So quick story. These guys, I bought this from Slolo. Two guys from Albuquerque, New Mexico. They know my bandmate, and they cut me a deal on this because it was kind of expensive. And they said that we'll give you a deal on this, but we're going to tell your bandmate that you bought these terrible records.
Terrible. Are you kidding me? Yeah, here we go. Disco Devil coming up strong. Smooth as a fucking banger. Yeah, you're right.
I played this, and it was smooth. It was great. I had to turn it up. I played it twice.
What's the B-side on it?
The B-side is Maria.
Oh, Maria, the Wyclef one, right?
Yeah.
That's a horrible B-side.
Nah, that was a good one.
Jason, is that that's like a double A side? Maria was also a single.
I thought so. Yeah.
That
one, you're right. No.
Version?
This
the
is
B-side
B.
is cool.
Oh wow, interesting.
So I think the story was that they released it, didn't think that this song was going to be,
So they remixed it, right?
Well, no. I mean, they actually released this one as the single and then Smooth as the B-side, but then everyone liked this one more.
I got a 12-inch promo of that, actually.
Nice. So would you call that, Jason, your find of the show?
It was the one that I enjoyed. No. I think Remedy promo, the Black Crows, that was the one.
That was a good one. Yeah. Jason really went deep on 45s, which it takes a special discipline, especially if they're not, if they're a picture sleeve. For me, helps me at least, identify them, or if it stands out, if it's cool art.
Yeah.
But when it's the generic sleeves, maybe if it's the label sleeve, see, that would have stuck out to me. This Black Crows, because it's a picture disc.
Oh, I thought that was Wilson Phillips. Okay.
I mean, that's tough. Yeah. Look at those babies on the cover. I mean, those guys are all babies.
I've never seen that photo in my life before.
Neither have I until now.
Strong. Well, Jose, what were your impressions on the Austin record show? Because you gave me. I'm gonna give you some flowers here. You ready for this? I don't know if I have any appropriate music to share with you, but I'm gonna give you some flowers. Hang on first. So I'm gonna give a preemptive applause because Jose had this tip on one of our previous shows about record show etiquette. Bring some records to trade, and gosh darn it, I brought some records to trade, and it came in clutch because instead of paying $400 for a couple of high heaters, I had $400 in trade. So shout out to Jose for bringing it. Now tell us about your Austin experience in 3 minutes or less.
3 minutes or less?
No,
all right. Well, it was pretty good. I think that I would say that I saw more titles that I wanted this time. There were more sellers, I think, prepared for stuff, like dealing immediately from the first minute that I started buying records. People were like, "Can you knock off $20? Can you knock off $5?" They're like, "Yeah." So I think they were more prepared this time than I guess last time. But I missed some sellers from last time that I got some pretty good stuff. But I think I got some pretty good records. You want me to show some? I don't have my records here, but I do have.
You can get them. We'll bounce to Bianco and get his impression.
Oh, I have. I have it here.
All right.
I don't know, like,
all right, rip it. Well, here I'm gonna make you big, Jose. It's your time to shine. Let's go.
All right.
You got to tell us what they are, though. Remember, we have the visually impaired who enjoy this channel.
Well, I'll just show randomly. So one of the records that I was most excited about was this. This is the first copy, the first pressing of Jad Fair and Daniel Johnston. The lighting here is horrible. Now I'm noticing. But I was really excited about this. It's mint condition. I've never seen it so clean. It's not an expensive record, but it's so hard to get it. It being Austin, Daniel Johnston being a major figure of the Austin scene. I was pretty happy to get this. And funny story, I snagged this before Dylan from Novel Records got it. He was going to buy it, and I just gave the guy the 50 and took the record, and then Dylan was like, "Oh, that's the record I wanted." So that was pretty fun.
Like that.
I got this Masked and Anonymous soundtrack with Bob Dylan. That's Jeff Bridgers. Who else is that? I forget her name. Maybe someone here knows. Luke Wilson. And this is, what is it? Who is this guy? John Goodman.
John Goodman, the Afton, Missouri, the pride of Southwest Missouri State. How dare you, Jose?
Yeah, I forget his name. It's the Flintstones guy.
Oh God.
This is on Classic Records, which I think was pretty bizarre. It sounds pretty good. It was $35. I bought it for $30. It goes for like $100 or a little more on Discogs, so that was pretty fun.
So Jose, before we show the next one, PB Thal, he says, so basically Jose poached a record from Dylan. Was that a highlight of the show for you?
No, but it was fun. Yeah. So this record, it's the other way around here. This is $5 for this. I was really happy. It's a Swans single, Amnesia, and then Love of Life.
Nice.
2 songs that I was really happy about it. It goes for like $30-$40, so $5 was pretty good. This is Illinois Button.
Yeah, very explicit cover, Jose.
Yes. This is a beautiful record. I got this for $10. It was new, sealed, and it's a reissue from 2010. But for $10, I was like, normally it's like $45 with the shipping to here, so that was pretty fun. I got this record I had not listened to because I wanted to find a copy first. This is the debut album by Mike Heron, which was the singer for the Incredible String Band. This is a really good record. It's folky, yes, but it's also very hard rock. John Cale plays in 2 songs. I've never heard him singing like pop or hard rock, but it was pretty amazing. It's a $5 record that if you see, I would suggest people getting. I forgot some outside. I got this sealed Alice Coltrane record.
Radha. Well, let's call it Radha.
Yeah. Well, it's not that hard, but I got this for my wife. It was $20, I think, sealed. You know, it's not one of those most expensive records by her, but it is pretty amazing. And $20. That's the first thing I bought from the. I have some others. I don't know why I didn't bring them. This was $5. He goes for like $50. The Gene Ritchie record, folk music, folkways record. Very beautiful, very eerie.
Sure.
It's like the type of music you would see like in a movie by like I don't know like Brother Where Are Those, something like that. Like
right.
It's
Coen Brothers type stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But she played the Appalachian dulcimer very beautifully, and again, it's very eerie and like right now that it's very hot, I can imagine myself in like in the bayou, some shit like that.
I bet.
Oh, I got some others, but I'll show them.
We'll spin back on the freestyle for sure. All right, Bianco. I know.
Yes,
look,
sir.
you got some lap records. You're ready to go. Let's go. Fire it away, David. What'd you pick up? Because David, you were only there for the Friday. You did early bird.
I was only there for
and then
Friday.
you told everybody to go fly a kite. You went out guns blazing. What'd you pick up?
Well, actually, I found that I boxed some of mine that I picked up already. So, but anyway, well, I only had a few that I was even looking for, but my buddy Brad was there, and he gave me a list of about 5 things because he was on a conference call from like 10 to 11:30, and I found I think 4 or 5 of the 5 within the first hour.
Nice.
It was nuts. Unfortunately, a couple of them, the condition wasn't good enough, I think. But I guess it was obviously a lot more crowded Saturday and Sunday than it was Friday, I would assume, right?
Yeah.
But I will say the setup seemed better. Definitely got a lot of good deals even the first day. It seemed like people were open to doing that, like I think Jason was saying. So that was good. But the one record that I really was glad to get was a group called Procession, which is a jazz-tinged prog group from '67 out of Australia. Little known band. And what made it even sweeter is it was a white label promo of that on Smash Records. So these guys were, in the really early recesses of Prague, and I've heard of them. I've listened to one of their records from overseas, but I never saw a U.S. one. And what's weird is if you look this band up in Discogs, the album for some reason doesn't show up. But when I looked up the number off of the label, it does. So it's just something weird. But anyway, this was for me, just something I've been looking for back in the day. They just took a stamp and stamped the record as being a promo. So just finding that good. I think it was just $20. I think I paid 15. Nice. But yeah. So I mean, I didn't really pick up very much. I picked up a couple of records for some friends of mine, some VCLT that I'm going to send out. So it was just fun being around different people, meeting different people. So it's a good time. That's the best part of it, I think.
Yeah, for sure. The social element. And yeah, like you said, I mean, there's a lot of people for early bird even. I mean, they opened up that back ballroom, which is, this is my 3rd, maybe 4th time. I'd have to look. First time I had seen them open that additional space. So that added more vendors and I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
All right. Let me go through. I'll show you a couple and then maybe we can talk through it. But I am the world's worst record describer, but we'll try how this goes. Actually, I'll start with the last record I picked up, which was before I usually don't stay to that 3rd day, that Sunday. Usually I'm out of town by then, but I stayed over because I just wanted to hear all of Jose's stories because I've been missing Jose's stories in a bad way. But the last record I bought was, it's actually Sideways. This is a 70s like funk group from Britain. It's called, I think it's Mandy. I probably am butchering it, right? Because it's something that's kind of relatively new to me. But this is a real heater. It's on Janus, I think. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this was one that one of my locals had a couple weeks ago. And I kind of looked into it. I was like, yeah, I'd like to see this. I didn't want to pay what they had it for sale. And so I got a nice 20% off on that from the deal. Actually, Jose, you remember the guy that was mad at you about your payment? That guy, yeah. So I waited for him to leave.
So many.
Yeah. All right. So then I picked up. So I love that 90s, 2000s. What they call it, butt rock, I think. And at least that's what my son calls this. Monster Magnet. And see that slip of the tongue. It's called Power Trip. Now, this is, if you know Monster Magnet at all, besides being like some Kid Rock disciples, is they have that one song, Space Lord. It's like worth getting this alone. But this was pressed in 2012. So this came out like way before that, the album, but not on vinyl till 2012. But like this goes for like silly money. And so I leveraged that trade in that I was talking about earlier. Jose gave me the tip and I brought records to trade with this guy. I think Richard.
That's the best way you can do it. You know, like they get excited, you get excited.
Yeah, this was something that I would not have, probably paid that price tag for as it was. But the fact I had a little bit of cushion was nice.
But Chance, can I ask you a question before you move on?
Yeah.
Who got the better deal in the trade?
So I'll tell you offline, but what I got in trade value, I paid about 45% of what the trade value was. So I did okay. Hope he's not watching. Richard, I hope you're not watching, because then you'll never do a deal with me again. All
well,
right.
But that's the thing with the trading. Like if you have a record that you back in the day paid $20, $30, and it's worth $100, you don't care if you swap
all
it.
Profit,
right.
It's all profit after 25. It's all profit.
Yeah.
All right. So then the one, Jason and some other folks had asked me like, hey, what's one thing, or what are you looking for? That's a question you always get when you go to record shows and you got a good assembly of folks helping you look for things over the landscape. And I said, the one record I'm kind of really hot to trot for now is the Bob Seger 72 album. Turned the page on it. And I saw one that was sealed for $350. No way. I'm not going there, especially the price. And I don't want to pay for old dead stock because my luck, it's probably warped. So I found one for maybe a fraction of that, maybe a third of that. And you ready? White label promo. So yeah, so I was.
Oh, you found it. All right.
Found it, and I found arguably a top tier copy. Except the jacket's got a little water damage, but what are you going to do? And then before we get to the showstopper, they had this record last year. This is Eugene McDaniel's Outlaw. He's a artist out of Kansas City, I think, and he did a lot of like ghost songwriting for other artists. But Finally Please redid this, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago. So last year, I guess in the fall, when I went to the Austin show, Joint Custody, which is a shop out of DC, they had a copy, and that was the first booth I went to. And I saw it there, and I passed on it. I thought about it, had it in my hand, put it back. I'm like, I don't want to, want to keep my bills close. And by the time I made it back around, it was gone. So as soon as I saw this, first thing, pulled the trigger.
Vinyl Deceased.
Listen, we're gonna get into the dramedy of Vinyl Me Please. Don't worry. And then Jose, I caught him taking this out of my box a couple times. This is a band.
I don't even know what record that is.
This is called Log. This is
a guy named David.
Well, listen, Jose, you looked at this more than I did, so I don't know. Leroy Burgess was a guy who did this. This is on the Salsa Soul label. So think of like, this is 81, so it's right after disco officially, but it's still kind of got that disco vibe, that boogie vibe. And this is, I think even Billy's Record Salon picked this one up. So anyway, did pretty well. I was very happy with that performance, and it makes going. Those are the things that would take a longer time to accumulate over going to locals and record store road trips on the weekends. But when you go to a big show like this, it increases your odds. It increases the possibilities of getting those records. So anyway, Disco Devil, straight up. Log is some disco heat. I got no G2. See, that's what's up.
I'll say that I think I bought like almost 10 records for other people during the show.
You did. Jose was very vinyl forward. He was definitely helpful in this pursuit.
Well,
go for it.
Because after a while, like the second day after a while, and especially the third day on Sunday, I didn't have a lot of records to look for anymore. So, it was sort of like, well, I'm going to start looking for other people's records now. And then.
Hey, that's the way it should be, man. I'm with you. Hey, before we get off this topic, I want to give a special shout out to somebody I got to meet in person. Super excited. This is Paul Paraka P-Dub. Is his channel, and this guy is not only wicked smart, a wicked great record collector, and a great guy. It was great to meet him. I'd been like, it's one of those things you just talk in the comments, and we have a mutual friend, Brandon, Mr. Hall of Fame. He's been on here before. It was just great to actually meet Paul in the flesh. I know some other people met him in the community, so he made the drive from another part of Texas that I won't say. And it was just great to have lunch with him and really get to know him. And I already knew he was a great guy ahead of time. And it's always nice when you meet somebody and they turn out to be even better than you think. So shout out to Paul. Awesome to meet you. All right, next topic, because this is a real production. And I'm going to go to the man on scene who actually broke the story in Austin for us. We were waiting. Oh, hang on. What are you doing, Jason?
Who broke the story? Is it
Well,
David?
if you recall, I'm going to move him over here because then you can just point straight down. So Friday, when he's in town, we're waiting for some burgers. We were doing some burgers at was it Sandy's or Shandy's or Candy's?
Sandy's.
Is this a little shop, little malt shop, kind of just down the street?
Bird poop on a bun.
Yeah. Well, David, some people like it that way. Well, anyway, we're just sitting in line waiting. And David's on his phone, and he shared the news. I guess Michael Fremer had it on his side on Tracking Angle, so do where's due. But David broke it to us. So, David, in a nutshell, the high level, what's going on in Vinyl Me Please and the pressing plan and all that? I call it dramedy because you almost can't make this up. So tell us about it.
Making big.
Well, we're gonna make him big. He's in the vinyl.
Look at that.
Allegedly, and all people are innocent until proven guilty.
Fair enough.
Start with that to cover us all. But allegedly, there's a situation where the lawsuit has come through where the Vinyl Me Please board has fired the CEO and the CFO for basically taking funds from VMP, as it is the record label, and using it toward the pressing plant. They were supposed to be more of a separate venture in that regard. There were contracts and activities that were being done, like Gary Sahlstrom's contract from QRP and buying some really high-end equipment for their listening room that were way above and beyond what they knew. And I guess they did some sort of audit in the last few months and found that a lot of people's time was being used from the record label side. And the reason they did this is the label's been losing money the last couple of years, and they're trying to do some traceability, I guess. And so this is where things kind of came out. And so the CEO, Cameron Schaefer, he was a guy I was conversing with through email since March of 23 to visit the plant. And always was something, usually it was waiting on equipment or waiting on permits or waiting on a red tape of some kind, up until even 6 weeks before the show. It was like, we're still waiting on our certificate of occupancy from the city of Denver. So I don't really know how much of that was related to their waiting for this to produce fruit. Mm-hmm. And so it's just a mess.
Hang on, we got to drop just for it. I've been waiting on this one, David. You ready?
I declare bankruptcy!
I said all these drops, and I just waited for that. That probably wasn't applicable. But Arnaldo, I know that you are a Vinyl Me Please enthusiast to the point that you introduced me to a Vinyl Me Please group on Facebook, and you do a lot of reviews on your channel about the Vinyl Me Please experience, the good, the bad, the mailers, sleeve splits. I mean, you've run the gamut. So what did you think when you heard about this? And are you concerned as a Vinyl Me Please, I want to say super fan, but I mean, we've talked about this, like enjoy generally what they do?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I have been following their recent Discord town halls since the announcement last week. Mm-hmm. Try and get an idea of what actually is happening. And they've been pretty much on the Discord communication channel pretty upfront with all of their members. So we'll have to give them, their props, because they're trying to get ahead and
be transparent.
Save the boat from not sinking, because a lot of people are asking questions. If you were in that first town hall, there were like tons of questions regarding what about the pre-orders? What about future record of the month titles? And how is this going to impact, shipping out and the production going forward? And they kind of reassured everyone that nothing's happening with the record of the month. None of the selections are going to be canceled, and that the titles that were in production are still going to happen, as well as the pre-orders. They even offered people, if they want to cancel their pre-orders, are free to do so. So they've been pretty transparent so far. And actually today, in one of the latest Discord live streams, they said that production is still probably going to happen still either at RTI or GZ,
right?
Where they're currently pressing up until now, because I don't think any records have come out of that new pressing plant. And
allegedly they are plating. Like that is the rumor that they're at least that close to being able to do it. But yeah, and please continue.
Yeah, and they also said when we are ready and we have all of our ducks in a row, we will communicate officially to everyone. They're trying to field and answer all the questions as they come along on these live streams, but they will make eventually an official announcement once they have everything in line and everything ready to go. And actually, one of the latest, I think it was yesterday, they had another live forum or whatever. I don't know, maybe they found boxes of titles that had been discontinued, for which they don't have the license anymore. Things that are really supposedly very limited quantities that they wouldn't even put in a Throwback Thursday. Like we're talking 5 copies or less. And they were actually asking members that were in the chat, how do you guys prefer? We would like to do a raffle, whether it's all of them at one person or a few people. And I think quite a few voiced their opinion to say, no, why don't you have some type of sign up for whoever's interested in a specific title, and then you can raffle off, because otherwise people will end up with stuff that maybe they don't want, and it would be unfair to people that maybe want something. So they're working through that. They're trying to share as much as they can as they go along. Yeah,
to your point, I think big shout out to Paulie. I think it's Paul. I don't want to call him Paulie. I don't know.
Paulium?
Yeah. Paulium. Yeah, I mean, he's the customer service guy. I mean, he's the man. Like I always had good exchanges with him. And then Storf. Those guys have been kind of taking the lead on the, let's call it the PR piece of this. And the Discord. So I'm just going to read this. This was a nice recap on just the high level stuff. And Arnaldo touched on before, but I'll just read through it for the sake of the podcast. But David touched on a little bit of this too. But Vinyl Me Please and the pressing plant are separate entities. So before there was a belief that they're, tied at the hip, or it was going to be the Vinyl Me Please pressing plant. Apparently that's not the case. Like the guys were saying, nothing is going to be canceled. Things are going to be moved to RTI, potentially Furnace was one of the pressing plants named in that chat. A lot of concern about that Grateful Dead box set being reissued, because a lot of people pre-ordered it. So a lot of folks were worried if pre-orders were going to fall through or not. So that's an interesting development. Also talked about free order, like if you want to cancel your orders, they were very you can. So if you've pre-ordered anything, they kind of basically gave carte blanche that you're free to cut away, no penalties or kind of chargebacks and that stuff. It sounded like the former CEO Matt Fiedler, I think's the name, right, David Fiedler?
Yeah, coming back, yeah.
Yeah, he came back, so he's taking the reins of the dumpster fire that's going on right now, and so that's good. A little stability in the leadership chair there. And then also, I guess the one thing they said was kind of neat, unrelated to the main situation, is they're still trying to do this angle about guest curation, about, I guess, some of the titles. So that'll be kind of interesting to see what that looks like. But,
I was just going to say there's another situation going on that could be impactful, related to getting contracts with certain labels, or getting so a lot of that's in process has been established for a year or more. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Oh yeah, for sure.
The concern I have is not only reputationally, but also some other things that are potentially going to affect their ability to get the best selection, or do maybe as much as they have been. So and I'm sure that's not on the Discord info. Did they say, by the way, Arnaldo, on the Discord thing, is the plant pressed anything that's gone into production?
Not as far as I know. They haven't mentioned that.
Yeah,
and they haven't mentioned whether they're planning on utilizing, I doubt it, the plant for any future releases. So I don't know. They haven't really disclosed any of that.
Yeah, well, at this time with this kind of conflict going on, I guess, I get that. I mean, obviously that wasn't the intention, originally. And, but at the same time, then that bears question, well, who's gonna be the customer of the plant?
Sure.
Because
Sure.
I mean, it's like MoFi's plant, Mobile Fidelity Pressings. They pretty much, are
one for one. Yeah.
Yeah, they're only providing, at least right now, to MoFi. So, and I think that was the expectation of the arrangement. And all I could tell you, I mean, even up until the last email, I mean, all the emails were going to vmp.com for Cameron, not vinylmediapressing.com, which does have a domain for email.
Sure.
So, and I emailed him at that, and it didn't bounce. So,
I wonder if they're being rerouted somewhere. So we got Tom, High Rant District as a channel, says the discrimination lawsuit that Alex filed is even worse than what the pressing plant kerfuffle was about. So.
Okay, well, that was the thing I didn't want to.
Oh, well, listen, we opened it up. Tom did it. So David, tell us about it.
No, I'm not saying it. All I can say, it was an A&R person, a really high level A&R person that was really involved in a lot of the deals that were done and a lot of the titles. That went south. I actually pulled a legal document last week on that case. So
interesting. Before I check the pulse of our other panels on this topic, last thing I'll say is about the Discord. They talked about if you're holding your pre-orders, they're going to try to incentivize people for, the longer waiting period. There's going to be some compensation, which I'm assuming will be a discount of some sort, or maybe they give you some free records because they like doing that.
Oh, they'll send you some return MoFi titles is what I heard.
I was wondering where those are going. By the way, side note, Arnaldo, tip of the cap to Arnaldo, I did email MoFi because I hadn't got any correspondence from them. And I showed them my proof of submission, and they sent me a return label the next day. So
awesome.
Bye-bye one steps. Peace out. Konnichiwa.
Hey, by the way, anybody notice that MoFi posted today that they're starting to press the records somewhere else?
Oh, somewhere else?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Fidelity.
Global Fidelity Pressings.
Oh, that's what I mean.
That's
their own
plant.
plant. Okay, that makes sense.
That's
I thought maybe they're.
That's what Mazzy wrote there in the last comment he put up.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, Norman Maslow. I don't know if you've heard of that channel. He's kind of a newcomer. Says that MoFi announced and posted 3 Miles Davis. That's a new artist. Miles Davis albums today from the new plant.
Miles Davis?
It's not as far from as Miles Davis.
Yeah, Miles is just
closer.
Closer. So June, I'm gonna ask you. Do you have any Vinyl Me Please stuff? Is this a service, or because they do some pretty good hip hop and they do some kind of like obscure reissues? Have you ever taken the plunge on Vinyl Me Please?
I do not have a subscription, but I have bought them secondhand. I've got a few of them. They reissued a few good albums that I was interested in. So yeah, I get them off the secondhand market. I haven't taken the plunge to get a subscription because not every album every month I like or I want. So if there's one that is nostalgic or I feel I need, I'd look for it.
That's the move. That's secondhand market.
I'm pretty happy with them too. They're pretty good albums. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when they do it right, I always say this: when they do it right, it's right, and when they do it wrong, boy, is it wrong. It can be real bad. Jose, Jason, I know you guys have. I know Jose's got the Chileno record, but I think you have some more. Jose, does this news upset you, or is it just business as usual?
My problem with Vinyl Me Please is that for every record I like that they release, there's like 15 I don't give a fuck about. So.
Hold back, Jose, hold back.
No, what I mean is like, for example, like I'll say that I think hip hop, it's the category that they do the best, the most, because most of the titles, they're like first time on vinyl, or they're like the first time they doing like really good, or it's more hip hop and rap is very much in touch with like the pop culture, so like color vinyl and all that's pretty great. So I think their efforts go most into that. But for example, the rock one, it's very basic stuff for the most part. Like I don't know. So at least for me, I think that people push
but
to the
at least they, Jose. But at least they're not redoing Crosby, Stills, Nash.
well, you can say
Doesn't need
that.
to be redone anymore.
You
I
can
can't
say
believe I'm
that
hearing this from Jose.
or
This is the same fool contacting me if I can get a second Chelino record. Get out.
Oh, I think. Listen, in fairness, Jose, I'm not going to out you, but I think you went around the entire day as trying to get another Chelino record. So.
yeah, and only one guy helped me out. Thank you, Arnaldo. Thank you, Arnaldo. Only one guy with a heart
Give him
helped
flowers. Give him flowers.
poor immigrant.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing about it is that I think that they have good titles, but people forget that their purpose is to like for starting out collections and for filling out holes. That's why you shouldn't be that critical, like, oh, why don't they do this? Why don't they do that? It's like they do have some very like Sony Sharrock. That record was like goes for like more than $200 right now. But
Jason,
but
what
yeah,
do you think?
It's just not enough for me.
Not enough for Jose. Jason, what are your thoughts on this? Because I didn't get to go through all your boxes of records, unfortunately. I was too entranced in the performance that we were experiencing. But finally, please, what does it mean to you, and what does this mean to you?
They do okay reissues. That's all I can say. I've compared a few of them. The Jolene, the Dolly Parton, right? The Shotgun Willie, which heads up, they messed it up. They swapped the stereo. They shouldn't have done that. The channels were mixed.
Oh, that's bad.
Oh my God.
Bad.
But I mean, some of it's okay. Like, what can you do? Like they're not perfect. So I'll just pull a Mazzy here. Vinyl me, please, if you're listening and you need help. I'm
Well,
your
Mazzy,
dude.
in fairness, Mazzy did say that I guess they offered him the role of CEO, and I lost that comment. But is that true on LinkedIn, Mazzy? They reached out to you on the highly productive recruiting platform LinkedIn. I wasn't sure if that was true, but I mean, hey, stranger things have happened. I only have this one. Welcome to another day in corporate. All right, final topic for the pod-specific part of the presentation. This is why we had our special guest June on here, because he made a video a week ago, maybe in the last 2 weeks, about a topic that's near and dear to many record collectors' hearts. That is digging in the dollar bins. And entitled the video, you called it "To Dig or Not to Dig." So I guess the background is, before we kind of tee it up for you, June, is every record show, record store, antique place has the cheap bins and those dollar bins. And 5, 10, 15 years ago, there was a lot of fruit in those bins.
Yeah.
You just had to get on the floor and do the chore, right? But man, lately it's tough. So June, tell us about what was the motivation of the video, and answer the question: is the dollar bin still worth it in today's record collecting hobby?
All right. Well, the motivation was because I dig, and I guess it all depends on your taste of music and what you're looking for. I guess like a lot of the rock and other genres, I probably pick through. There's a lot more people collecting vinyl nowadays, and but I find some if you take the time to dig, and I enjoy it. I enjoy flipping through records and just being in the record store, because I don't get to be in the record store as much as I did like 20 years ago or so.
Sure.
So when I get a chance to, I'll take my time. And that's always the last thing I do. So before I leave, I'm gonna flip, I'm gonna dig, and maybe, maybe that'll be that one there.
Well, what kind of stuff have you been pulling? Because in your video, you're showing a lot of 12 inches, a lot of really cool stuff. What's been some of your great finds, let's call in the last 5 years? Like, what would you say are some peak, like totally worth it, getting the hands dirty, looking in the dollar bins?
Well, one that I showed in the video was that the Menace Society promo sampler. Like I say, that soundtrack has been reissued, but it's far and few between, and if you want it, they're gonna make you pay for it. So I found that, I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I find a lot of lot of 12 inches. The last time I went record store day, I found 2 Prince 12 inches. I found a Morris Day LP. I find some LPs, but a lot of times they'll be 12 inches. And there's plenty of Barbra Streisand in there. Anybody wants it.
Thank goodness. I'm glad, because there's so many Andy Williams.
Yeah.
I got to give some flowers to Olivia Newton-John, because she used to be one of the regulars of the cheap bins for years. And then, God rest her soul, she passed away. And boy, you never see her again. She has vanished from all the cheap bins. So that was good to see. Now, guys, let's kind of get your thoughts on this, because I know Rojas and I talked a little bit about that. Well, he's off camera now. We'll come back to him. But similar approach about the 45s. You got to have that we'll call digging discipline. I had to slow it down and make sure I said it right. Arnaldo, we'll start with you. Are the dollar bins? Are depending on time? Like, how do you approach the dollar bins that is different now versus?
Are you talking about the real dollar bins or the $5 bins?
Let's call it the dollar bins, or even the $3 or $5 bins. Like
the bargain bins. Bargain
bins. Let's be very democratic. Let's call it the bargain bins. Like, what's your approach now?
Well, the couple of local record fairs that I've been to, I did spend some time in the $5 bins, and I actually brought home some really good stuff. There's this one guy that I think I showed it on one of the shows last month, that he had everything at $5, and there was some jewels there, because he was kind of like getting rid of a lot of stuff that he had. So they weren't necessarily bargain bins, because he didn't have a high price, section. He was just selling everything off at $5. So hit or miss. There were people that were even Billy was there. I was like, I turned to my side, and Billy's digging through and racking up the $5 records. So yeah, it's hit or miss. Depends. There's times when I go to record fairs or even local stores, and the ones that are right below, and you got to get down on your knees. And I did that a few months ago when I went to Stranded, and yeah, you'll find maybe a title that's worth $10, but it's in such bad condition that they can't price it for more than $2. So, I think there are in the proper $2 bin. It's really, I find a hard time finding something. But definitely in the $5 bins, if we're calling still them the bargain bins, I have found some good stuff. Cue to the 45 section. I agree with you, Chance. I don't have the patience.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have a picture sleeve, I don't have a patience to flip through. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the 45 collector, and respect, tip of the cap to them. That's a different type. I wouldn't say different type. It's a different flavor of collector, because you gotta either you gotta know what you're looking for in terms of the label artwork, or sometimes there'll be the label sleeves. Maybe that's something that's a pause. But yeah, when it's all the white sleeves, like Jason was telling us, each day what he pulled, and it's like, that's great. I would love to have those, but the time, like I would have just went mad just standing there.
Well, someone like Jason, and he's conveniently off camera right now, he's got everything already. So he really doesn't need to spend time looking for grails, because he has a lot of the grails.
That's true. That's true.
So
that's a fair
I
point.
could see how he wants things that require a little bit more time, unique things, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah, Jason sent us a note in the secret chat that it was a power outage apparently. So there's been no attack on Jason. I know there's some concern coming out of Austin if there was potentially a hit put on Jason's life. So I just want to qualm those out real quick. Power outage. So we'll get Jason back as soon as we can. David Bianco.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on on finding the deals in the deals bins? Because everyone likes a deal, and record collectors like them probably more than most. But if you're at a shop or a show and you see the deals bin, how likely are you to maybe at least put your finger in the pulse?
Yeah, well, I tend to, especially when I go through a place and I, rifle through, and it's like, I really don't see anything that's jumping out at me. I'll do that. When I was in Sweden, I did a lot of that, and I found a lot of great stuff. Even for Frankensteining covers and stuff like that, it can be worth it, right?
Yeah.
So, so I, $1, $2, it's kind of, that's usually Frisbee time. But, a $5 bin, yeah. I mean, I've found some real, I mean, I found my RL. It wasn't in a $5 bin, but it wasn't in any high dollar thing. It was just by looking and looking at every single one of them to see if it by chance happened to be it.
Sure.
So I always tell people don't assume that the record collector guy has checked everything 100% or that they know everything 100%. You'd be surprised. That one time you find it, you'll always go back once you realize that can happen. It's usually more a matter of time than anything else.
Yeah, it's like you put in the work, you'll get the result, right? And I think that, but again, I think 5, 10, even 15 years ago, man, there used to be a lot. The apples were bigger, the oranges were bigger. Now, you really got to make a conscious effort time-wise, like Gene was talking about. Like, just finding the time to get to the stores is one thing, but then invest the time to actually get down, dig. That was some of my earliest, once I got back in the hobby 12 years ago, that's some of my favorite memories was being on the floor for, a good hour and a half and just combing through and Prince and the Revolution, all the stuff you'd find as collection building, right? But now it's a whole nother game. Jose, what's the practice or your approach on the bargain bins? Because I know you pulled a lot of $5 records in Austin, so I think I already know the answer. But are you like Pac-Man? It doesn't matter. You're just getting them.
No, I found some great stuff in dollar bins throughout my life, like that Mamas and the Papas toilet cover. I got that one for free because I bought something else, and the guy was like, I was looking at the dollar bin, and he was like, "You want that? You can get it. That's free." So stuff like that. It's like, I got the first press of Loaded by Velvet Underground, a dollar bin. Stuff like that. I think that it's a matter of how much you are like the desire to go and look for records. Because I think most people that don't know what it is. For example, when I go to the US, I always look into the Latin section because they just see a name in Spanish. They say, "What the fuck is this shit?" And they put it in there. And I found some great stuff like rock, fuzz, a bunch of garage and stuff like that I actually know and dig. So stuff like that, I've gotten like Cesar would be probably happy about that. Like I've gotten some Soda Stereo singles, like $1 bins, Spinetta ones, because people don't know what it is, and they just like, let's put it here. So my advice is always look at least quickly on them, because for example, like last year I got a copy of the cleanest copy I've ever seen of Killing Me Softly, which is a very cheap record, but you never see them like that clean. So again, when you find something that clean, I think it's worth it a lot.
Jose, did you say that happened a year ago?
The what?
That you were just talking about a year ago you found something, because I missed a sound effect opportunity.
Oh yeah. It's like what is it? Yeah, David Letterman. But yes. I think that you have to be persistent when you're looking for records. That's normally where I go to. At the show, I think like most people are like always looking at the walls, if the wall said something. But nah, I go for the everything, and I found a Nico single for $5, which I was really happy about. A week before going to Austin, I found a Taylor Swift 7-inch that a guy had for $10. So that I sold for a good amount.
Oh my gosh, Jose! Let's not give away the trade secrets. John Bandy, who again I'm so glad it's here. He says, "Go with the percentages. Have a long list and be flexible. Don't get obsessed about a few items." Okay.
Yeah, I think that it's worth it. It's all the time worth it. I think the only problem, for example, I'll say that Jason, not present here, and me, we went to a lot of half-price books and Goodwills in Austin the last day.
Hang on, I gotta set the bat drop. So
All right.
I think it was, we're getting food coming to the house.
No, that was late. That was later on. No, we went to get some.
Okay.
No.
Jose and Jason ducked out, and they said we'll be right back. And next thing you know, Jose saw a Goodwill where we picked up his gluten-free pizza at the Domino's, and you knew that Jose was like a tractor beam. He had to go hit that Goodwill. So I can appreciate the digging enthusiasm to go.
Well, yeah, but we didn't find a single record. But again, I always look. I think that it's worth it looking for it. And yeah, Massey, I did found that.
So this was also one of the biggest developments out of the Austin show. We didn't touch on it, but this is a good way to segue out of the first hour. Is Jose found what only one panelist has ever found or ordered, and that is the Michael Frommer comedy album, to which then we had a meeting of the minds. Literally the smartest guy in the group, Paul, Barack P-Dub, and Mazzy got together and straight up slabbed that bitch. I know Michael Frommer doesn't watch the show, so sorry, Michael, we're not spoiling anything, but I mean, slabbed.
There's a photo of you there. Look at that.
Yeah, there's Jose holding it.
Yeah.
So
Only 1995.
It was half price, which I thought it was very funny because I asked the guy, like, hey, because I told Massey when we were eating that I found it, and we were talking with Dylan about slamming records, and I told, hey, well, maybe you can slab it, right? That one, and we went to look for it, and the guy didn't even know what the fuck I was talking. Hey, did you sold the Michael Frommer record?
He wanted like, $40, right? $40. I mean, it was
$40,
a outlandish price.
$40. But the guy was like, I think I sold it. He didn't know what the fuck it was. He was just like, and then we looked for it. There was a guy like in the middle, and I was like, hey man, can you move? That's the only bin that I haven't looked. And then I found it, and the guy was like, everything is half off, so it was $20.
Yes, I think this is a true assessment of that situation. Paul says the Mona Lisa of vinyl, and that is true because anytime you can't even replicate it. Like nobody could paint the Mona Lisa just freehand. Nobody can redo the Michael Frommer hand gestures. And as we learned from our visit to Jason's place, he showed us the Frommer record a couple days before. It came with like a press kit that either his father or his brother wrote. So it's definitely a collector's piece. Like it's a different type of collector. Yeah.
You got a press kit with that?
What?
What's that, David?
Did they have a press kit with that?
There was a press kit in Jason's copy, not in the one that was at the show, but and as he says, Paul said he got it half off. So he got the record half off, but slabbing it was 3 times the price.
I'll say that it's a waste.
One day Frommer's going to be slabbed.
I'll say that it might have been a waste of money, but in 100 years, when we're dusted and we're dead as fuck, and the civilization has crumbled, only slab records will remain.
That's right.
And for the posterity, Michael Frommer, I can take a joke. What's the name of the record?
Forever.
It'll be there forever. Like aliens will come down and they're like, "What is? Oh, this man was probably a savior or something." And
when the apes go in the forbidden zone and they find the baby doll. And they're going to find the slab record of Michael Frommer.
Yes.
Look at that wig.
$40. That was like a day's worth of food somewhere. Wow, he probably was someone important.
Wow, you could play this slab on a $75,000 turntable.
Yeah.
Now this is probably I don't know if this is true, but Mr. Norman Maslow says Paul is going to send it up to the International Space Station. I don't know if that's true. That may be fake news, but you never know. We may be watching TV one day and you might see the slab record kind of floating.
Yeah, maybe that's how aliens are gonna finally talk to us.
Shred it, put it in a bottle, throw it in the ocean. That's what I say.
Is it water resistant? I haven't talked to those guys.
I think so. I mean, they now somebody was saying, I think was it Dylan at lunch was saying that something can still get in there, but I'm not sure. I don't know enough. The guys were on the podcast, the VMG guys, so shout out to them. But anyway, all right. Well, let's wrap this segment down. If you're a fervent watcher, listener, all that kind of stuff, you know we're just going to wrap this piece down and it's freestyle time. So do not leave. I want to thank my guest. Jason's in the forbidden zone of the power outage.
He's powerless.
He is powerless in the forbidden zone, but at least he has a frame of record to keep him warm if it becomes an issue. So, Jason, thank you for joining us.
Turntable time.
Thank you for having me, Concert Buddy. All right. And then Jose Moreno Rahn. It's always good to see you and always good to have you on the program. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Jose, this isn't your first rodeo. You know how to go.
Hey, but it's delay. It's a little delay here.
Fair enough. David Bianco, the channel is Safe and Sound Texas Audio Excursion. Great to see you last week. Great to see you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
And then Arnaldo, who up until this week was always first in the backstage, ready, like we were crisscross applesauce until today. So Arnaldo, hopefully next time you get there a little sooner. Arnaldo channel is, thank you. The channel is Fidelius_frequency. Arnaldo, always great to have you.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
And then again, our special guest, June, who hopefully is going to stick around for the freestyle. The channel is June's Music Corner. Check out the channel. Been on fire lately. I saw you're over 1,000 subs now, so gaining some traction. So doing good things.
Go, June.
Thanks for joining us, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Always. And all right, freestyle. I gotta switch the art and everything, guys. So I saw a couple questions that we had in the gallery about Austin. Maybe we'll take those. Let me go bing bong boom here. Freestyle. Excellent. Maybe Jason will return. We'll see how it goes.
I've never noticed that it changes to a freestyle there.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Jose, this is high value. This is the best waste of my time. I've been spending
free for all.
Yeah. No kidding. Hey, Sean, Vinyl Dreamscape. Hello. Oh, hang on. Now, I do have to say this is a great call out, and it goes to anyone on our dais. Safe and Sound Vaginal Audio Excursion. Again, not affiliated with David's channel at one bit. Says remember to like and subscribe. Actually, I'm gonna do a cheap plug here. What would really be great is if you have one of these iPhones or a mobile phone and you listen to podcasts, check out Vinyl Community Podcasts. Even if you don't want to listen to it, give us a review. 5 stars is great. 1 star is don't even bother. Just turn your phone off and don't even try it. But would really love to get more feedback on that, because then it puts us up in the pantheon of other podcasts. So that'll be my cheap plug for today. Give us a review on the podcast and say something. Just leave a star review, whatever you want to do, but it would be greatly appreciated. So there's my cheap plug for the show. But anywho, so let's see. I did see Mr. Elliot Cruz had one I wanted to save for this part of the show. Talking about the Austin piece. So Elliot Cruz says the overhead for a distance seller to do the Austin show had to have been huge. How did they make any money? So I'll take this and then we'll pass the mic. Because there's a lot of, again, I've been to this show You got a mic? There's a lot of like repeat sellers, like Jason was saying, Slow-Mo from Albuquerque. I've seen them a couple times. Joint Custody from DC. Who else was there? I mean, so the stores that are coming, like they clear and they bring a lot of the heat. So I think it's worth it for them to come to the shows to offload some things and also sell some of the high dollar stuff, because I do think that it's worth it for them. Yeah, Mazzy says it perfectly. He says many of the sellers do the show circuit, and that's true. Even in my local area, we have a couple different shows. I see a lot of them coming through, and a lot of familiar faces. So, Jose, when you go, or I guess you've been in Austin, how many times now for the show?
4 times.
Okay, 4 times. So, you see some familiar faces, and do you think that? I mean, they would have to make money on it because you're paying for lodging, travel, all that stuff. I mean, it's clearly not for fun or community service, right?
There has to be a fee they pay directly.
A table fee.
Sure. Yeah, and I don't think it's that expensive. There on this one, that guy from last show that he had all those records overpriced. He was not there this time, but there was a guy that only had 78s. You saw that guy?
I missed him. He only 78. Holy smokes!
Yeah, and next to him there was a guy that had a what do you call it? A butcher cover for $300, which I thought it was really cheap, and nobody bought it. It was sort of like peeled horribly, but it was a butcher still. You know, you can get it clean or whatever. But I think that most of the people there do bring their best stuff out there. For example, slow vinyl, I think they did amazing. They probably
crushed it.
Everybody was buying from them. There were only 2 guys there, but everybody was buying from them. And again, I don't know how much you have to pay for to be there. I don't think it's more than $200.
It's like $40 a table physically. I think it's $40
$40
per day. Oh, so that's nothing then.
For the whole show, right?
Yeah,
right. But I think someone who's traveling from far away is depending, because you're shipping all your records.
No, for example, solo vinyl.
No, they usually drive.
Yeah, they drive. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't know where that guy came from. Maybe because I was shopping virtually thanks to Jose, who was sending me pictures. And actually, thank you, Jose, for picking up.
Wow.
It was not at the fair. It was at what record store was it at?
Hang on, can we tell this story? Let's tell this story right, because so Thursday we get in, we hit the ground running. I had a rental car issue. First of all, don't ever rent a car where you have to go off site. It's such a pain in the ass. But that was my story. It was worth. I only had a rental car for one day. I paid the $30. I'm like, okay, this is looking good. And then I saw the fine print and said I had to walk a half mile to a pickup point, like I'm a hostage, and then go and get this car. So anyway. Ran late, but I picked up Jose. We just went to the record stores. Jason met up with us, I think, after the first or second one. So we went to Antone's. And like Arnaldo was alluding to, is Jose was being a good citizen. About we saw a Morrissey record, and obviously if you know Arnaldo or if you're familiar with the channel, my man's got an impressive collection of Smiths and Smiths related albums, 45s, you name it. And so here we are. And Jose, tell me if I get any of this wrong. Here we are, and Antone's about to leave, mind you,
Yeah. You and Jason were already out, I think.
We were out. Yeah, we were out of the building. So Arnaldo, this came almost dangerously close to not happening. And so Jason and I were ready. Yeah, there was like a juice place that had records upstairs that we were going to go to. Anyway, so Jose is just like in there. He's Joseing. Is that a verb? Joseing. And
yeah, because I was talking with the owner of the shop.
It's hard to believe Jose was talking to somebody, but yes, Jose was talking, and so then he was talking to the owner of the shop, and then he had sent Arnaldo some information on this record, and lo and behold, Arnaldo did not have this record, or as an upgrade. You don't have this one?
I don't have that.
Okay, so that's a feat in and of itself, right?
But that's the thing. Like when we came in, we checked the rival ones, and I think we saw it, but we said, "Oh, Arnaldo probably already has it or something," and we were distracted because there was a very vulgar record that I wanted to buy there. Can I show it? It's a censor. Can I show it? I have a photo.
No. I mean, let's just say it's a lady's anatomy and a cigarette, and it's something you can't unsee. Let's just call it that.
You can't see anything. Well, let me show it. It's very funny.
Well, Jose, I don't know if we should be showing that. Let's just let the imagination run wild. I would hate for my channel to get shut down on that.
Yes. Yes. But it had a sticker, a very funny sticker.
Yeah, sticker covering what you don't want to see. So.
And I was taking a photo of that. Well, you guys left, and I saw the record. And I was like, I'll send it to Arnaldo, and he was immediately asking questions about it. And I think
good questions, yeah.
Yeah, like 10 minutes, and you guys were like, "What the fuck is this guy doing?" And then I went out, and I was like, "Hey, Arnaldo wants the records. Wait." So I took photos. I asked the questions. We even went to the Juice Land record shop. Which is
because we were waiting on the deal to get done. So basically, Arnaldo asked some questions. It checked out. Then it became a matter of did he want it? He said yes. But then Arnaldo, and mad respect, Arnaldo said
you got to try.
Arnaldo went straight. So keep in mind, Arnaldo is 2,000 miles away, and he asked, would they take less?
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
I made an offer, and it was a very respectable offer.
Yeah, so Jose's there.
It was
like $15 less, but I admire
10% off. So that's really what I was asking.
I mean, record collecting, saving, I love it.
Jose was gracious enough to bargain for me. We came a little bit higher, but I was like totally fine as long as, you know, he showed that he was interested in selling the record to me, and he came close. So I was like, okay, pull the trigger, Jose, and
you know what was interesting is like I went there because they sell records from my label, and they had sold a bunch of cassettes from like 2 years ago, and they were all sold out. And so I left all their stuff, and when I asked her about that record, she was like, yeah, I could put it by in the back or whatever. And we went to the juice line, and that's when you sent me a message that you left. It was just really funny.
It was like, what do you mean you left? The guy has it. I'm like, what do you mean you left it there?
Well, and he did it in a voice. I can definitely hear it in the back of my head. Arnaldo saying like, "You left," you know, like I heard your voice, Arnaldo, in that moment when Jose is like,
really. Here I am trying to order a copy of Chalino for Jose, and he leaves the record at the record store, goes to a juice place. And
that smell like banana, very hard. Like the smell.
I know it wasn't going anywhere because I don't think anyone was looking for it. But you never know. It's the weekend of, you know, the record fair, so you don't know who's in town, right? So
they definitely were thinking about taking it to the fair. I know that for a fact. So it probably would have sold because I bought that Bob Dylan one that I showed, and something else I bought, but I don't remember what it was. But they had great stuff, so I'm guessing they were saving that one for the fair. Because I know they actually have it like sticking in the wall like this, and but it was really shiny. So hopefully
it better be good. By the way, Chance, thank you for sending it. It's currently doing the world tour of the United States. It's going from one post office to the other.
It's Brooklyn.
Now it's in Brooklyn. Do you see the history?
Hang on, I have it up here because Jose asked me. Yeah,
pull up the history.
Oh no, it was already in New York once. Oh no, it was in New York.
Then it went to Massachusetts. Then it went to Connecticut. Now it's back in New York.
Well, I mean, just like Paul Ace Frehley said, back in the New York groove. But
now I remember. I remember that I was on a different vinyl quest for another friend in Antoine's and at the Juice Land. So there were two vinyl findings happening at the same time. A friend of mine was looking desperately for a copy of Rice by
Herb Alpert. My God, yes.
There we go again.
So
I forgot about this part of the story.
Herb Alpert and Morrissey.
Yes.
So
yes, I have it outside because that's not mine.
More.
Well, I will say that my friend actually got a great deal while I was waiting. And the last thing I bought from the fair was a guy. He had a copy of the 2014 Beatle mono things, the Rubber Soul. He had Rubber Soul 2014 mono for $50, and I asked him like, hey, like, well, how much you want for this? He was like, $50. And I was like, all right, I'll take it. It's mint. It's like mint condition. But it didn't have the sticker. The sticker was inside, like stick to something.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hang on. We've got a comment from the powerless Austin suburbs. This is Jason Roxas, formerly of the program a few minutes ago. He said the owner of Antone's gave us a fair price for the Morrissey album. So Arnaldo was lucky. Wow. Lucky.
So what I'll say that they're probably happy because, you know, they paid me some records and cassettes, and then all the money went back to them. So I think they were pretty happy about that.
It worked out for everybody. But I will say, so when Jose presented, he's like, my friend would like to know if you'd take X. And so they had to put their heads together. They were evaluating how long, because the first guy was like, well, we just put it out. And I was like, okay, well, tell Arnaldo that, you know, if like it comes to it. And then the one guy was like, well, bird in the hand is worth more than two in the bush, right? Like this somebody's wanting to pay. So yeah, there's the album. Don't upset Arnaldo because it's not there yet. But as it's made its East Coast tour, I think you'll get it. My guess is Saturday, Arnaldo. I don't know how that Brooklyn distribution center, do they turn things over?
Look at that grip. Look at that grip at your record.
It may arrive tomorrow.
Okay. So hopefully. All I know is
you are the quarry.
There it
So
is.
that-
Yeah, there's the Herb Alpert.
Is that the audiophile series one, or which is that?
The
Lo-fi?
I bought the normal one at the Juice Land place, and then at the fair, Antoine's had the Mobile Fidelity one, so I bought two.
So
Okay.
the whole reason why that record is very valuable, first of all, it was pressed in very limited quantities.
All right.
I think it was 2002 or 2004. I forgot. And at that time, I was buying only CDs. So it was pressed in limited quantities, has never been repressed since. And Morrissey is notorious. Whenever he represses his solo back catalog, he changes the track listing and he changes the cover. So if and when that album gets reissued, it probably won't get reissued with the same cover or the same track listing.
All right. And this is the store we were at. Well,
That's
Arnaldo,
like a Taylor Swift move there, man. I'll tell you.
Where do you think she learned it from?
Well, someone else would actually appreciate that, because you can tell which is the reissue that's been tampered with and which is the original.
That's right.
Yeah,
that
that's
was footage from Antone's, but
no, it was not the Antoine's. It was the Juice Land. This is the photo that I sent Arnaldo. Like, hey, the guy's like looking at the record impatiently.
But
making
anyway,
Arnaldo sweating. He's sweating, waiting for this.
Then he sends me pictures of this other vendor at the fair who has all of these other Smiths.
I saw a ton of them. Yeah, I saw a ton of them.
Yeah. I was like, can you read the text? Because he had on display a 45, which is considered the holy grail of all.
Yeah. Well, he
read the text, Jose. Let's go break fourth wall. What did this text? So Jose, I'm gonna set the scene. Yeah. Jose took a picture. I apparently took the same picture and sent it to him 20 minutes later. But Jose takes this picture of a wall with all these Smith records, sends it to Arnaldo. Arnaldo is excited. So Jose, what does the text say that Arnaldo sent back to you? Read it, please. We're gonna make you big. I think we even got a story time music effect for this.
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? He didn't send me. He just sent me like.
No, I sent you a text.
You just said, "Holy fuck! How much is the last one?"
There you go.
But yeah, this was the single.
Okay, so what is this single, Arnaldo? What is special about this?
It's a mispress. It's the negative repress of Hand in Glove, which was the first single. It was repressed, but they made a mistake and they did a negative version of the sleeve. It never actually made it out of the plant. So there's allegedly only 25 in circulation. Only people that worked at the plant and maybe.
So how much was it?
It was $5,000.
Well, he said that the last one had sold for 7,000.
So, backstory. You tell me how much it costs. Not that I was even thinking, right? Yeah. No, actually, it was before you told me how much it cost. I immediately text this guy in the UK that I'm corresponding with, who probably is the biggest Smiths collector, and he's also a dealer in Smiths records. And I've had also a Zoom with him. We talked about future collaboration. And I said, how do I tell if this is real or if it's a fake? At that point, I didn't know how much he wanted, right? And he texts me back. I send him the picture. He's like, oh, I know who exactly is selling that. I was like, really? Like, yeah, he got it in the UK. Was the guy coming from the UK?
No. He probably
didn't have an accent, so I don't know.
Well, he probably recognized the sticky note on it and
the handwriting. I think
I know exactly who that is.
That guy has a little bit overpriced, and
everything was overpriced. But when I told him what you told me, that it was $5,000, he's like, well, it's actually not a bad price.
Yeah. At least it was like $2,000 less.
No, he had told me that in the past it sold on a private auction for $6,500.
All right. So 5 was at least $1,000 less.
Well, I think I know the answer. I know the answer to Elliot's question here, but let's just read it anyway. But what if it has a long, deep scratch when you get it? that wouldn't happen because Arnaldo wants you to put on white gloves.
Well,
He wants you to put on a mask when you're on the record.
Actually, the only thing that's valuable is the sleeve. That's
the sleeve. Yeah, that's what
so the record inside
you could
is
Frankenstein it. You could buy the other repress that came out concurrently and slide it in, which is probably not as expensive. But it's kind of like the Mamas and the Papas toilet cover.
Sure,
right.
Sure, makes sense.
That's what it's about. Or
that's worth $2. So you know.
So June, we didn't ask you this before, but now we have you for a little bit longer. If it's okay saying, so you're on the East Coast, right? South, kind of.
Yeah.
Are you record shows? What's that scene like, or is there a record show scene? Because I vacation kind of like near where you are. I don't know what town you are in that state, but you know, I couldn't really pick up if there was like a real record scene per se. Like I've been to Papa Jazz, I've been to some shops. There's one in Hilton Head Island now, blah blah blah. But is there like a record show scene where you are currently located?
Not in my city. Upstate, I hear that they do have some, and there's a few in North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, so I haven't been able to make it, but it's a small scene.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. So if I don't even think, is there, Elliot, you're in North Carolina. You tell us in the comments if there's a record show there, because that's one thing I've always kind of scratched my head about. There's not really a big, call it Florida show or a big Atlanta show, like a regional show. Like there's the big tech.
Florida. There's one in Florida.
But to the scale, or at least comparable-ish to, like, say, WFMU in New York, or
where does Bob Bradley always goes to one in where is he from? And
he's Kentucky. He's in Louisville.
Kentucky, yeah. Well, yeah.
Everybody's leaving Kentucky.
Everybody's leaving Kentucky.
Well, Melinda is.
And she's going to Florida, which I don't know has a big show. So Elliot says Greg Neal shows do North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Okay, well that makes sense. At least it's regional, so that's good.
Yeah.
NCSCVA. But you know what? I think it's worth it. In California, I would say that there is great stuff happening all the time. There's one, I don't know if anybody here knows the name of but there's one every month that's really big.
Is it Orange County? Is that one every month? The Orange County Record Show?
I don't know, but a guy that I normally buy from or try to buy from, he always sells there. So I think there's some great stuff doing there. Here, there's once every month, but oh yeah, that one, yeah. Thanks.
Hey, David, I don't know. Did we do a debrief of the Dallas Record Show? Because I know seeing Vinyl Piper, Chris in the comments made me think of it. That show that Rojas and Vinyl Piper went to, and you were there. Is that a pretty regular show?
Yeah, twice a year.
Okay, and how would you compare it to? For I guess I don't know.
It's the hall is smaller. Obviously, it's about probably half the size of Austin, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's not. I mean Austin is different level.
Yeah, for sure.
But you can find some good deals there. So I mean it's a good show for being close,
I found a bunch of stuff in upstate New York ones. In Woodstock they make like on Sundays they do a bunch of stuff like that. But you know what, like here in Mexico City there's one every Saturday that's pretty big. I try to go when I can, but like I'm a masochist, so I love traveling by bus. And
apparently
glutton for punishment, Jose.
And to the Austin show was 9 hours. 9 hours this time.
Jeez Louise.
But normally to Mexico City from where I live, it's 14 hours.
Wow.
That's
so real quick, Vinyl Piper Chris, he says the Dallas show, he just went, right?
Yeah.
The Dallas show is very similar to the Orange County show in size and selection, so it's a good frame of reference. And then John Moreno says the Orange County Record Show is the last Sunday of the month here in Southern California. Jose, we've got it documented. Safe and Sound Vaginal Audio Excursion, quite the channel name. Not affiliated with David Bianco again. It says Jose the Masochist. So there you go, Jose.
That's word for word what I said. That's what
he's a greyhound.
He's a Greyhound kind of guy, and there's nothing wrong with that. Well, Jose, didn't you say to drive to Austin would have been about 4 or 5 hours?
Yeah, like 4.5 hours.
Yeah,
but I don't have a car, so you know
that slows you down every time.
Yeah, yeah. Every time I've gone in a car, we go in the morning and we arrive there at 12 or whatever, and we eat and we do whatever. But you know what? The thing about it is that I really don't mind it, and when I'm alone in Austin, I really like the public transportation there. You know,
Jose,
you weren't alone. You were with Chance.
Did you make it? Did you make it to HEB?
Of course, of course, I went there. I went with Jason again on that Sunday. I got my wife some stuff she asked me, and you know, there's HEB here, so I don't really need to. But the gluten-free stuff, like Oreo.
The frown on Jose's face turned upside down once we got in anywhere near an HEB.
If anybody ever wants to VCLT me, don't even send me records. Just send me some gluten-free Oreos. That's all you
send them some gluten-free Oreos. That's Jose's love language, in case you didn't know.
Yes, I don't give a fuck about records anymore. I'm just a gluten-free Oreos kind of guy.
Hey, one topic we probably should talk about. I know Jason's not here, but Steve Albini passed away.
Yeah.
So that was kind of, I mean, 62. So I mean, not super
61,
young. 61. So yeah, so that was unfortunate, but you know, definitely of anyone familiar with music in the last 30, 35, 40 years, definitely familiar. That's kind of a bummer. Arnaldo, any kind of memories or thoughts on the passing of Steve Albini?
Well, I actually went to his Wikipedia page and read a little bit about the interaction with In Utero, which I was totally unfamiliar with, the back and forth and how abrasive he could be with the bands and the music industry in general. I only knew him because of, you know, his work with Nirvana and the Pixies, which I loved.
You probably like more.
I'm not familiar with Big Flag. Big Flag's the name of his group, right?
Or Big Black.
No.
Oh, Big Black. Big Black. Sorry.
Oh, any chance for Jose to show that Big Black album cover? We have to at least. Yeah, there you go, Jose, and one of your personal favorites.
One of my favorite records of all time. I'll say this: he has so many records you probably don't know. Pod by the Breeders.
Yeah, I have that. I have Pod.
You probably have this.
I don't have Rid of Me, actually.
All right, but you should. You know, he worked with Slint, Black Midi. He worked with two bands, friends bands here. He worked here at a studio in León, in Mexico.
Was he still a proponent of analog, even in his recordings?
There's a amazing video. Please, everybody, go and watch it, where he is slicing up tape, and he's doing crossfades, analog. Yep. Yeah, and it's amazing the precision you have to have.
Oh yeah,
to do that.
It's art, man. It's art.
It's art. So you please go and check it out. He's like cutting it, and he reels to reel and puts it in, and you know, has a Gillette and cuts it, and it's perfect. And it's like, wow, like that's a lost art. A lot of people didn't knew about. And, you know, Songs Sohaya, Shellac. There's too many bands that I can name you that recorded with him, because there's some records that he only recorded, but he was not the producer.
Well, that was interesting, because I was reading about it, how he never considered himself a producer. He was just an engineer.
Right.
And he felt like it was robbing the artist.
He didn't want to cut. He said, I did a job, I'm done, I move on. You know, he didn't believe
he would only take his fee. And
hey, real quick, want to give a shout out to June. He's taking off. He's a married man, and he's listening to the lady in charge. So June, smart man. Pleasure having you on. I hope you come back.
Sub up June's channel.
Yeah, sub up June. I'm going to put his channel link in the thing below. But a pleasure meeting you, sir, and thanks for coming on the show.
Nice meeting you, June.
Sure. See you, June.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
All right, see you,
Have a good one.
All right, take care, bud. Be good.
All right now.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think that people underestimate the power of the you can call a producer or whatever, but the guy that actually records the band, it's normally someone else. For example, for all those piece of shit records from what's the guy that I hate?
Hey, Jose, that's a long list. Can you narrow it down?
Yeah,
Which one?
The Death Row guy.
Who?
The
Rick
Death,
Rubin.
Rick Rubin. Sorry, I have my mind is not.
Rick
It doesn't
Rubin.
work.
Rick Rubin.
So, for example, that guy, he's just there. He just exists. He says like an idea, and people either love it or hate it. But Steve Albini was the guy that
that's a
actually.
song.
But Steve Albini was the actually guy that put the
He
microphone.
lights the incense sticks.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
I don't know if I can keep broadcasting this assault on Rick Rubin, a tremendous
Rick Rubin.
producer. Whoa,
But-
whoa.
But what else? Yeah, you know what? I read his book. He's not a bad writer. I will say that. He has some good philosophies. My problem is that he just doesn't do a lot, and people pay a lot of money.
Now that we're on the topic of Rick Rubin, he's produced some amazing records.
Yes.
Yes,
And
he has.
some records of artists that I would not have bought, like I didn't buy
Dixie
the record.
Chicks.
The
Dixie
Dixie
Chicks.
Chicks record is
Yeah.
amazing. Around that same time, he produced also the Neil Diamond record, also a great record. He
Johnny Cash, American.
Johnny Cash was reborn, kind of like with. So whatever he does,
he died. He died also while doing it.
well, whatever he does, whatever influence he has on the artists that he works with, I have total appreciation for.
Yeah, Tom Petty.
But
Yeah.
I watched, I think it was only one episode. He did an interview with
McCartney.
Paul McCartney.
Yep, I saw it.
I did not care for that interview at all.
I did not either.
He sounded like he didn't know about a lot of stuff.
That was shocking.
Like he was.
Yes.
He sounded surprised about stuff that you should know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, he's just there for the good vibes and for ideas. Like, can you imagine telling
Paul McCartney?
But
Paul McCartney, he didn't know shit. Well,
no, yeah, he didn't know like.
But does he have really a signature sound, though, if you know what I mean? Like a Jeff Lynne. Jeff Lynne has a signature influence.
I don't think so. Yeah.
No, he doesn't.
It's like, I'll say this. For example, you go with what happened with Rick Rubin. If you read and I've said it a million times before, but if you read when Black Sabbath was recording with them, everybody hated them so much. They were like, my God, they hated him so much because he wanted to bring in the old equipment. Hey, telling me, where's your original amp and original gear? And he was like, hey, I already have like a signature guitar that I use, and I have these pedals that I want to use. No, we want to do it I want to do it all analog again, and all this thing. So my problem is that as a producer, you have to know what a band is doing during that time, and if you don't know about it when you're in studio, you have to ask them, see what they're comfortable, what they bring into the studio. If they don't bring anything, you can tell them like, hey, I'll help you with this and that. But if they already have their equipment and they're a band as big as that, because we've talked about the guy that is producing all the Rolling Stone recorers and all of that.
Watt. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike. No, it's not Mike Watt. Mike Watt is
Andrew Watt.
Mike Watt is Minutemen, punk legend Minutemen. But I'll say that the problem with that is that little twist they want to do, it's sort of shitty, you know.
Yeah, but when you pick a producer and you change producer, you are basically asking for change.
Yes, and what changes is fine and all, but what I'll say is that,
for example, compatibility. Is there
what I like about Steve Albini is that you can feel that they were really comfortable in the studio. Like Guided by Voices recorded with them, and that's one of my favorite records. I'll show this one if anybody here doesn't know the Jesus Lizard, which I guess most people here does. But for example, if you never heard this and you like bands like Nirvana, I guess, stuff like that, just the opener track of this record will make you try to buy it. It's an incredible record. It's recorded very well. And again, there's so much bands that I can name that were recorded at his studio, or here, the one he had in León, Mexico, because he recorded a lot of bands from here. I think that I'm a audio engineer. That's what I graduated from, and he was definitely someone that, if you were in a band right now or 10, 20, 30 years ago, that's the producer you would you want to go and work with, or have it at least record you. So basically, and I saw it yesterday, a lot of bands were like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm really sad that I never got to.
Well, that's what I wanted to touch on, Jose, not to cut you off, but Vinyl Piper had a good point. I think this is probably worth talking about. Is he said, do we discuss the death of producers? Usually it's the artist. When did the last big producer die? And I think it's true. Kind of what you're talking about, Jose, is like through my social media feeds, countless record stores, musicians,
everybody.
So everybody was talking about Steve Albini, right? And I'm like Arnaldo, like I knew of him, and I saw some stuff about In Utero, like Conan O'Brien did a really cool interview with Dave Grohl.
Anthony Bourdain had an interview with him.
Did he? Yeah. So I mean, interesting guy for sure. But to this point, like Chris followed it up and said, if Kevin Gray died, I know Jason's not here. Jason would be the perfect person to speak on the potential death of Kevin Gray. But no, I mean, to that point, if Quincy Jones passed away, of course, like Quincy is one of the Mount Rushmore producers, right?
This is a band from here, and they work with him. There's actually a video there here of him.
They work with Steve Albini. Okay.
Yeah, so there's them.
Who are some other producers or engineers that may have this kind of clout that would like literally?
Bill Ramone.
Okay, yeah, the music world would take a breath, right?
Well,
and I know Jose and Arnaldo wouldn't believe this, but Rick Rubin. I'm going to throw Rick Rubin's name in the hat on this one.
No, that's fine. Again, he's worked on some records that I actually love and I like, but my problem with him is just the way he works. It's just like I don't think it's worth it as much. I think that maybe you can produce it, or you can call like that, but the way he puts his name like in the biggest fonts you have ever seen, producer, when he doesn't even touch a single button on the deck, not a single time. He doesn't even know how to work.
Are you back to Rick Rubin assault, Rick Rubin verbal abuse?
Let's get back to Steve Albini.
Yeah, let's get back to Steve Albini. Yeah.
I wanted to read something that a friend of mine.
All right, we're gonna make you big, Arnaldo. Do I need to have any sad music or anything like that?
Well, no, it's
violin out.
He yesterday he posted his encounter with Steve Albini, and he said regarding Steve Albini's untimely passing today, I actually got to meet Steve after a shellac show at Lincoln Hall just before Chicago was locked down for COVID. I thanked him for all the great music over the years, Big Black, Shellac, the numerous records he produced that I love. His response was the most Steve Albini response I could have possibly hoped for. Yeah, fine, but I would have made those records no matter what you thought about them.
Yeah, again, it's
wow.
No, he was a great guy. One of the most underrated guitar players. The tones he had on the first Big Black Atomizer, it's over there. I won't get it. And the EPs, actually, it was funny. But
Brian Eno is a name we'll throw in the ring on this.
Well, some people say that Brian Eno is like another Rick Rubin. He doesn't really know how to play any instruments.
No, of course he knows how to play.
Hang on a second. I want to take issue with that because that is a charge. Listen, that a charge is we get in the vinyl community. At least some of us. Very often you get the musician crowd who say we're morons because we've never picked up an instrument ourselves. So Arnaldo, that one hits close to home. That Brian Eno made up. But Brian Eno was a musician, right?
Yes, in Roxy Music, he really didn't do much. He played played keyboards, but the weird sounds and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's a synth. It's a modular synth. That's what the instrument is.
Then when he played with when he produced Bowie, same thing. He came with his little suitcase with his weird electronic sounds that were in there. But some people, I love Brian Eno. Don't get me wrong, but some people think that Brian Eno can't play an instrument.
He can.
Well, hat on this one.
He can, but he's produced some horrible records. All the U2 records, I'm not a U2 fan.
Oh, Jose, come on! You need
if I can spread eagle, pick someone in the nuts, it will be every single member of U2. And they wrote that I've ever heard of in my whole life. And he wrote a song about my country when there was the war, the blue sky, whatever. What I'll say is that Brian Eno questionable producing records. Talking Heads pretty good. Laurie Anderson pretty good. Laraji pretty good.
He's a great producer. No, I don't think I disagree with what you said. He kind of changed the course of U2.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, I'll say that the only thing that I could, a gun to my head, listen from U2 is a band that he had with Brian Eno called Passengers. I don't think it ever was released on vinyl, but it's on CD and it's on the soundtrack for what's the Michael Mann movie?
Heat.
Insider.
Heat. Yeah, Heat. There's a song on that album but it's pretty beautiful, pretty great. I think it's everyone except the drummer. I don't know the name of the drummer.
No, they're all there.
They're all there?
The Passengers are U2. The reason why you remember the drummer is because when he was asked, I think, what's your favorite record? I think the drummer said the Passengers record.
Yeah, it's very pretty sounding.
I think it's said the complete opposite. I don't remember. I could be misquoting here.
All right. No, but that's a great record.
Todd Rundgren is a great producer.
Who?
Todd Rundgren is a great.
Oh, Todd Rundgren. Yeah, Patti Smith.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I got to interject here with Todd Rundgren.
Hang on.
I got to interject.
Go ahead.
So, dollar been fined a few weeks ago.
All right.
Should I go get it?
Yeah, go get it.
Why not?
I'll be right back.
Fair enough.
You know, Todd Rundgren, what I'll say is that he produced more famous bands than himself, and I admire that. The band, that Stage Fright, I love that record. The sound is very weirdly, but the vocals and everything makes sense. Patti Smith.
Man, he cut a record 29 minutes on each side.
That's a DMM cut.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to new
DMM.
Hopefully, I want a quick shout out. New friend of the show, Daniel Adams. His comment, Jose will like this one. Daniel Adams came in, and I'm not being fine. I'm just reading this. Welcome to the show. U2 sucks. So Daniel Adams coming in hot with the hot take. Daniel, we like that. And you know what we do? When you come in with the hot take, you know what we give you? We give you the hardware, sir. We got to just wrench it up. Get wrenched. All right, you're wrenched up. Let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm making you big, Arnaldo. Here we go.
All right. So this came out, I think last year, was repressed on Record Store Day.
Anything?
No.
Okay.
I almost got it. And I was like, you know what? I've seen that record around. So I patiently waited until I found it for 99 cents.
I found it for 99 cents. Plus tax.
Produced by Todd Rundgren.
Yeah,
Sean Cassidy.
Wow.
Yeah, TV dude.
And I was like, you know what? I'm intrigued. For 99 cents, I'll buy it. And I was listening to it. I'm like, what is this? He does covers. He does Rebel. Shake Me, Wake Me. That is. Wait, I'm sorry. Pete Townsend's So Sad About Us. Then he does songs by David Byrne, Ian Hunter, and even Todd Rundgren wrote a few songs for here.
That's pretty cool. I don't know that record.
But he sound like, okay. Are you familiar at all with Sean Cassidy?
No, I don't know.
He's an actor, yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the Jack Cassidy.
Like David, right, and Shirley Jones.
Yeah,
Shirley Jones.
Right.
He was brother to David Cassidy from
David
the Parkers
Cassidy
family.
And he was like a teen idol when he came out.
Yeah.
And he sang pop songs. He was kind of like, I don't know, the equivalent of NSYNC at the time, right? And this was his popularity was declining. And this was the record that was supposed to be like career changer. That's why he got Todd Rundgren to produce it. And it's supposed to be a new wave record, but his singing is terrible. I don't get it. He's
no. I didn't know we were going to just destroy this poor young man's career.
I'll give it a second spin, but I mostly got it because Todd Rundgren, let me show you the hype sticker.
Oh, it's got a hype. That's cool.
Produced it. Well, the hype sticker fell off. And I was like, Todd Rundgren, I don't think ever made a bad record. So I'm like, let me get this. And I listened to the first side, and then I got through half of the second side, and then pizza came, so I had to take it off.
Well,
Arnaldo, we have the Sean Cassidy fan club of 3 on line 1, and they've got.
Hey, show the picture. Show the picture there.
Oh yeah. Hang on a second. We got some effects.
This is where he started. This was his first record.
Yeah. Like a baby face, right?
What? I don't feel comfortable looking at that photo.
All right, Jose, we'll take it down.
Okay, you guys aren't old enough, but David and I probably were in the age of when he was big. Remember 16 magazine?
Oh yeah,
David.
Sure.
He was all over those covers.
Oh yeah,
Tiger Beat. I know.
He was all over those covers.
Wyoming Dave has stormed into the audio broadcast, and he's showing. What are you showing there, Dave?
Sound Cassidy Do Run.
Oh my
God! Run. That's off
That's
off that first record.
Yeah.
Wyoming Dave has been living for this moment in the vinyl community for years, and
Arnaldo,
he just like that Sean Cassidy.
You brought it right in, man.
Oh, I got 345 records by him. That's it.
You never thought you'd get a chance to show that on your channel.
Yeah, we didn't have Sean Cassidy in the show notes. I got to be honest with you, but now we're here, so let's roll with it. So hey, and I also want to give Wyoming Dave a big shout out. Here's why: because Wyoming Dave, if I'm not mistaken, is a moderator on this other stream right now.
I'm not watching him, but yeah, Steve.
Yeah, well, Wyoming Dave,
good man.
Wyoming Dave made the right choice because they're over there doing show and tell and talking about sound waves and all kinds of stuff, and we're over here talking Sean Cassidy. So remember that next time you're making a decision in the Thursday night streaming wars between Steve Westman and the Surface Noise crew, because Wyoming Dave, who's a moderator on that program, is over here. So the allegiance of Wyoming Dave is recognized, is appreciated, and Steve Westman, chew on that.
If he wasn't competing against you, I'd be watching Steve. So.
Oh well, listen. Hey, A team, B team, we're okay, and Steve's great, and Steve and I are good. It's all good.
Or you can watch that guy. He was on all night last night.
Oh, not George Boredom. God damn it! I can't believe this guy. There's not a live stream this guy can't get off of. I mean, this guy is everywhere.
Did you say George Boredom? Did you say George and get off in the same sentence? I don't.
Oh, George is in the stream right now. Here.
Hey,
he's showing Joe Walsh albums.
Oh my God, Joe Walsh albums! Thank God.
You can't even get that in the dollar section. You can't.
Dr. Robert's on there, man.
I know. Listen, I left Dr. Robert a nasty gram. Dr. Robert and I thought we bonded. Jose was there the first night. We're smoking cigars in this backyard, and there is Dr. Robert. He pulls them out of a plastic baggie. They were probably laced with PCP, for all I know. And then Dr. Robert enjoyed it so much he brought more cigars on night 2, and so we had cigars, but yet
I didn't have any in the second.
Yeah, where is Dr. Robert today? We had a great conversation, and Dr. Robert he's
on with Steve.
He's on with Steve Westman. Arnaldo, that's probably your seat that he has taken on the Steve Westman dais. Can you believe this? Dr. Robert is an opportunist. I can't believe this guy. Unreal.
Wait, I was gonna say something. Oh, I want to bring out John McHale as a producer is also pretty great.
Joel McHale, the
John Cale from your favorite band.
Oh,
Chance.
Yeah, John Cale. You know, Patti Smith, the Stooges, Nico, a bunch of Nico records that I love.
Damn straight. Listen, this Safe and Sound Vaginal Audio Excursion is really winning me over. This channel is pro free speech. You're right. Free speech lives on Surface Noise. If you want to get censored, and if you want to have the marketplace of ideas closed on your fingers, like the car door, go to the Steve Westman show. That's what's going to happen over there. I'm just saying.
That's David's buddy, isn't it?
I got a CD.
I see. Concert Buddy is actually chatting on Steve Westman.
That's
I
right.
smoked a cigar with Dr. Robert 2 straight nights, and he's ducking surface noise. Unbelievable. All right.
Listen,
Maybe you had an optionals.
Wow.
Where's my monocle?
You're a multitasking fool.
Well, here's the thing, Dave, and it's funny you bring that up because I've noticed, I don't do the manosphere and all that nonsense, but I've noticed that there's a lot of concurrent streams. Like they'll do their show and then they live stream it on the guest's channel. So I don't know a lot about this, but I think they stole that idea from us in our Collectco raids that we would do when we're simulcasting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, this is another idea of ours that has been stolen by these lepers in the vinyl community.
It's a
or one of these.
conspiracy.
I mean, listen, if there was ever a better time to play our drop about the tinfoil hats, I don't know when it was, but we're going to fire that up right now. Just for I'm tired of all our great ideas on our struggling live stream stolen by these bigger channels. This has got to stop. I'm putting it down.
Put your foot down.
I'm putting my foot down. Look, we've stolen the best moderator on the Steve Westman show, Wyoming Dave. We've stolen, no doubt about it, the best guest on the Steve Westman show, Arnaldo.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know what else we can do. We're gonna continue.
Hey, I'm the best former guest.
Oh yeah, we have the best former guest in David Bianco. So enough is enough.
So Dave, let me ask, since you talked to Chad,
Dave or
going
David?
like this now that the vinyl media pressing plant is in hot water?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Do you think Gary Sahlstrom is still going to be working there?
I don't know. He's quasi partner, so
yeah, he has a stake in Vinyl Me Please. That was one of the things they were upset with, was he got a big salary and he got a piece of the company.
But I don't know vinyl media pressings or Vinyl Me Please?
Vinyl media pressings.
Vinyl media pressings. Okay.
Yes. Well, I think he might be contacting MoFi for a job. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows?
Now, Caesar, I got to read this comment because Caesar's hit me where it hurts. Caesar says that is why Concert Buddy has forgotten all the peanuts because he's chatting with other streams. I see. That's why Jason left. This is not true. I have been trying to engage with the great people. Listen, every one of you who is here right now is a great person. I don't know what's going on at the Steve Westman show. I see Norman Maslov as a defector. I see John Bandy as a defector. I see Dr. Robert as a never was
on here earlier. Yeah.
I mean, this I can't believe what's happening. We were the appetizer because this show is longer. We start earlier than that Westman show. We're the appetizer.
We're the crowd.
Yeah, right? I guess so. Yeah, I guess we're the opening act. You're right, Arnaldo. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, this may turn into be something. I mean, and now Jason Arsenal has made a wise choice in joining the Surface Noise show. He said this is the place to be. So much more 80s WWF references. You're damn right.
Steve said, if you guys want to go south of the border, I mean, So.
Andy G, my man, shout out to Andy G. Says any Manosphere folk in Westman stream. You know what? I hope they get all the Manosphere folk. We don't play like that around here. We don't need any of that stuff. Oh, hang on. PB Thal is I can't believe it.
Right, PB Thal's here.
PB Thal's here. He's made a wise choice. And
why doesn't PB Thal come up?
I mean, I haven't
seen him in ages.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I think he was on the morning show for a minute, but
again, the morning show, I haven't been tuning in. I've been very busy in the morning.
Listen, Patrick has an open
line. You've been actually working like we're supposed to.
Yeah, hard to believe. The problem I got every time I see that Vaginal put up a comment, I think it's me doing it. Losing my freaking mind here.
Vaginal is playing the ultimate prank. Now, see, this is, and Patrick, in fairness to Patrick is right. He said, I never get invited here. So listen, we're gonna solve this because Patrick wants to be invited. You have to. Well, no, he doesn't want the free link. He wants to be invited. He wants to be. He wants to be on the warm up show to Westman, and then he's gonna do our warm up, and then he's gonna leave and go on the Westman show. He's gonna work himself up into a lather and come in hot like Chappelle. He's just gonna.
Patrick's a big complainer, isn't he?
Hey, I've never seen a single football game, and I watched the Tom Brady roast. Everybody saw that.
Oh, it's amazing. Hopefully, comedy is back because it was
Not
glorious.
a single second of football, American football, I've ever seen in my life, and I saw it.
But you love comedy, and the comedy was ripe. It was tremendous.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I thought
God.
it was.
Oh
Just
my God.
Ben Affleck sucks
Patrick.
so much. I hope they never invite Ben Affleck again. It was horrible. That part of the show was horrible.
Listen, I don't know what's happened to Tom Brady's face over the last 20 years because it definitely has changed.
Yes.
But I give him a lot of credit for being a good sport because they were ruthless. They, outside of his children, and they made a couple little small children jokes. I mean, they got him everywhere. They got him for leaving his pregnant girlfriend for Giselle.
Bridget Moynihan.
Who's that, Arnaldo?
What's the ex-wife? Oh,
Giselle.
Wrong mom.
Bridget
Moynihan.
No, was Giselle there?
No. But they had a lot of Giselle jokes about leaving Tom Brady and going right to the jiu-jitsu instructor.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Anyway, if you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth at least the first hour or so because that's when they had what's her face, Nikki Glaser, Jeffrey Ross match.
What's the name of the other girl? I thought she was the funniest.
I wasn't familiar. You talking African American girl?
Sam something.
Yeah, Sam something. She was a nice comedian. They did. What's funny is Kim Kardashian was invited, and when she went on stage, because I did watch it, like
they booed her.
But then Netflix went back and had the booze out. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nikki is a St. Louis girl. She went to University of Kansas, she is not a good look. But, but she's great. She's a St. Louis local. She's terrific.
Yeah, I like Nikki Glaser. She has
Patrick, we should have had you on the show. I didn't know we'd go about the Tom Brady roast, but Patrick says it is bad when Tom Brady has more work done than Nikki Glaser.
I think she is.
Wow.
Yeah, Nikki Glaser. No, but she was really funny. Again, Ben Affleck was the worst one, and then who else was pretty? Gronk, whoever the
Gronk. Listen, Gronk. I mean, they kept killing Gronk for being dumb, but he went up there and he even said, "I wrote some of these jokes myself."
Oh yeah. Can you believe that? It was like, yeah,
it was terrific.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I thought
good stuff. All right, well, guys. Oh, hang on. David, you're showing something before. I was gonna wind it down, but what are you showing, David? What we got here?
All right. So tomorrow I will be receiving my Atlantic 75th anniversary of this album, and I'll be doing a shootout and releasing it Saturday.
Can you tell our visually impaired folks what we're looking at?
Yes, 90125.
Patrick's been wanting this one, right?
Yeah,
Patrick
it's a USRL is what I'm going to compare to the 2x45 from Chad.
Okay.
Let the games begin.
All right.
David, was this an analog recording or a digital recording?
Analog.
It was. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Well, Tom's got a good way to sign us off. He just says no.
No.
Well, that's a good plug. All right, guys. Well, I think we've had a very productive show. We've established the boundaries have been set with the concurrent Steve Westman show. So we'll see what happens. I think it was a good show. I want to thank Wyoming Dave for showing up late, but showing up period, because again, we have stolen the moderator from the Steve Westman live stream. So we're on, and we also have the best guest of the Westman show, Arnaldo, and we have the best former guest in David Bianco. So listen, it's like Star Wars. We're taking the legs out of that AT-AT, and it's going to topple over anytime. But I want to thank everybody in the gallery. It's always a pleasure doing these. Always a pleasure. I appreciate it sincerely when people show up. But thank my guests, Jose and David and Wyoming Dave and Arnaldo. And we're going to call it a wrap. But we'll see you in 2 weeks. And then starting in June, I think we're going to go weekly, but more to come on that. So we'll see how it goes. But anyway, thanks for joining. We'll catch you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Good night, guys.